Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to be speaking today with Tammy from pathtotheheart.com. And we're talking to her specifically about her facial analysis experience. And there's some things that we need to know about this. And she has right on her website a checklist to see if it is actually for you. So let's go through that very quickly. You're committed to your personal growth and development. Check mark number 1. You want to get to the root cause behind what's holding you back. That would be check mark number 2. You're looking for a deeper connection to yourself and the truth of who you really are. Check mark number 3. You're feeling stuck, experiencing transition in your life, and you're looking for a change. Check mark number 4. You're looking to connect or reconnect with your natural talents. Number 5, you want to assist people to the best version of themselves. That would be number 6. You want to know more about the body, mind, heart, soul connection and how the body presents in your face. Check mark number 7. If any of those check marks appeal to you, you need to really keep listening and see how Tammy's facial analysis experience is going to help you. So, why don't we bring Tammy onto the show and hear more about this face analysis experience. Well, welcome back, Tammy. It's a pleasure to have you again on the show. And the last time we talked, we really jumped into that story about how and why you got started. Why don't we start by refreshing everybody's memory about your story of getting started?
Yeah, sure, Michael. I'd love to. My story started when I was working as a nurse one day, and I was started having heart palpitations and chest pain, and it was radiating up my jaw and down my arm, and I was feeling like fuzzy in my eyesight. I couldn't take a deep breath in, and I ended up being wheeled off to emergency in front of all my coworkers at work. And honestly, leading up to that point, right, I knew I was struggling with, I was burning out essentially, and I knew that I had struggled with concentration and focus on all these things, and I even got a doctor's note to take time off work. But I was so committed to fulfilling all my commitments I had with my coworkers, the doctors I was working with, my clients at the time, my patients, that I just couldn't let go, Michael. And what I realized, as obviously I look back at that story, is that I couldn't let go, not because I didn't know intellectually what to do, but it was emotionally I couldn't let go. Because in my upbringing, I experienced abandonment and a lot of abuse and neglect. And I got really good at putting a happy face on, being a perfectionist, being a high achiever. And that's all I knew I was, essentially, and at that time, who would I be if I let go of this mask of being all put together? And that's why I couldn't let go right at that time. But the universe made it happen, and that's I got wheeled off in front of everyone.
Yeah.
So it really allowed me to step into my healing at that time. And of course, on my journey, I just had to I had to get some help for myself. I realized after having my first baby, and she was 6 months old, and she's lying there on that baby Einstein mat, and for the first time, she hit one of the hanging toys intentionally as a baby. And most moms would be really ecstatic and happy about this. And I wasn't. Like, there was a community nurse sitting next to my couch in my living room, and she said, "Did you see that, Tammy?" And I honestly, I saw it, but I was so disconnected with myself. I was so fixated again with everything I had to do around me that I was missing out on my own baby's life. And so starting from that point, Michael, I essentially started doing healing in the realms of trying to figure out through the mind, through, doing NLP and all this personal development. Obviously, the answer wasn't there. And I went into doing a variety of energy healing modalities. And although it did help, when I was honest with myself and I stopped doing, like, exchanging healings 2 times, sometimes 3 times a week, like that, the depression, the anxiety, like feeling not good about myself, all these things kept on coming up. And so it's not until I dived into this emotional and spiritual healing and coming into what we're going to talk about today, the face and body analysis
Yeah.
under psychosomatic therapy, the study of the body, mind, heart, soul all together, where everything sort of brought it back together to me, to the importance of coming back to my body to feel. And our face, our body, our characteristics, the way we walk is highlighted for me a place where I wanted more in my life, but I wasn't letting it in. And so I find the face and body analysis as a very powerful tool for anyone that wants to really see what's going on at a deeper level, what is subconsciously in the way of what they want. Yeah, and essentially manifesting into health challenges, conditions, and things like this. So thanks for having me here. That's how
Well,
I got into what I'm doing today, Michael. I don't know if you heard that story the same as last time, but that's why I do what I do.
yeah. The crazy thing about stories is, depending on our mood when we start telling the story, different details. It's the same story, but different details start to come out, right? And I really really appreciate and honored that you come on our show to share your story and to share what it is you do for people. But I have some serious questions about face and body reading. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
know that in leading back to the medical profession, because I know you have a lot of training in the medical profession, that like there's different things with our hair and our nails, skin color, all that sort of things that can lead to different types of medical conditions, or say that, hey, maybe this gland isn't working the way it's supposed to, or this particular organ isn't doing what it needs to be. And I know things like that. But we're also talking about, going from our first interview, they were also talking about our body as an energetic being and how the energy flows through. So I'm curious how these things come together.
Yeah, and like honestly, like when by the time we have had a health challenge, like something wrong with the organ,
Hmm.
it would have very likely shown itself at a physical level in some way. What I mean by that is that if there is challenge with someone having thyroid issues, for example, oftentimes the way they're posturing, the amount of tissue around their neck, even the degree of the line to the lines on their body, it's already communicating to me as someone that knows how to read this, of course, that there are some um, energy disruptions
Hmm.
happening at that level. And so the beauty really of our body is a direct reflection of our thoughts and emotions. It's just it really should be mainstream information, and often like we're some of us who are really about prevention and not necessarily waiting for something to happen. I believe it's
Yes.
really a really important tool to sort of be able to sort of know how to read your body or have someone read it for you, to decipher problems before they manifest into
Hmm.
things. Yeah.
I know for myself that that's extremely important. I'd rather know about something before a symptom occurs than like have a symptom and then like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
yeah. So um and with that, it's like one of the things I'm trying to coin, and I know you've joined me in this is well care, and you fit in that category of well care, where we're deciding to take a wellness look at things, not a health look at things. Meaning we're going to be proactive and find and enjoy our lives in a way that we might see something before a symptom happens, or we decide to change our lives in a way that prevents symptoms from ever occurring. Right?
Yeah, and I just want to clarify. You said well care, like
Yeah,
in the
wellness.
wellness care,
Yeah,
wellness care.
wellness care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and so what where I because I mean yes I used to be a chronic disease nurse, and so wellness is
Hmm.
definitely really high on my list, and what I noticed is that it was by the time we wait for something to go wrong, it's yeah, we could have done something about that on many levels. And so the level that I like to work at in this wellness, like all of us want health, and all of us know that we keep on going and doing all these things for our business or work, and at some point, if we ignore our body too long, it breaks down on us. And what I learned too is that with the like service-based high achievers that I do work with, oftentimes when we are trying to meet that next goal, trying to meet that next accomplishment, oftentimes our body is already communicating things that are in our way at a way that is in a way that's actually stopping us from actually achieving what we want. And so,
Hmm.
in many ways, if we are looking at a body as a sacred tool of wisdom, it could help us. And for someone who's actually trying to achieve goals and accomplish and make impact in the world, and what your body is actually already highlighting to you, and know by doing that, it's actually a preventative way of being well and honoring the body. And another piece I just want to bring into this is very interesting is that the body even highlights for us if we are actually on direction with our purpose, and even if we're on purpose with our inner soul's calling.
Yeah. Yeah. So in part of your reading, if somebody's coming to you and asking about their purpose in life, you can tell by um, the flow of energy through their body if they are actually fulfilling their purpose.
Yeah, I essentially our body is essentially the vehicle for our soul.
Hmm.
I truly believe that because in psychosomatic therapy, when we are not living our soul purpose, our body is not living and expressing our full light, our full energy, or a capability, so to speak. And so energy blocks start to sort of, like what I said in the throat, it starts to get blocked in these areas and create sort of a physical problem. And so when people come to me, I actually get them to record what they are, how they are walking for a good, 30 seconds to a minute at least, to see what their patterning is. And so through assessing that, I'm able to let them know. I even get them, just because I do a lot of things online, because that's a gift of COVID, of course. And with that, I get people to take pictures of their how their feet are placed on a regular basis, and not to like change how it looks. Just this is how I normally stand, and so I can get a really good imprint of what are they on purpose? Are they walking their purpose? Are they blocking their purpose? Like all this information our body actually provides us. Um, yeah, and that it's actually on the spot information as well. It's
Well,
not just as a general, but it's like on a daily basis. There's times that we navigate through our life and we are, following our purpose, but we can see if we're off direction, for example. So it's just amazing. I think this information needs to be more widely known. So thank you for, inviting me
yeah,
here to talk about this.
yeah, yeah. So, like, and I'm purposely not asking you what somebody's feet would look like while they were walking or standing. If they were walking with their purpose, because people actually need to work with you to figure this out, because they could um, unintentionally, like their brain saying, "Oh, I know I'm on purpose," and and then just change the photograph before working with you about how around how they're standing, how they're walking, all that kind of stuff, right? So we want people to be as honest with you as possible when they start working with you. It's important, right?
Yeah, and that is a very good point. I'm glad that you were able to, pick that up within yourself, because when we're not being authentic and real, and unfortunately, a lot of people, we move through life like with a smile on our face, but at an inner level, and sometimes not even to ourselves. We think we're happy because we have everything, and when we slow down, we realize we're not happy. So I guess to your point is like I always get people to do it without telling them what it's all too much about, for sure, because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, subconsciously in some way our mind will take over and try to change things. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is quite it tells a lot in the sense when someone is being authentic in the moment and just not knowing what it is, and just walking how they
Yeah.
normally do it, so
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gathering that we need to let our guards down before working with you.
Well, one of the common things that my clients tell me is that, I hold a very compassionate, safe space. And that's what I like
Yeah.
to communicate to people as well, because one of the first steps we're working with me, Michael, is really the face analysis, because many people are sort of like, oh yeah, what does my face say? And so
Yeah.
very much like myself and my journey, I needed a face reading to really get real with myself before the healing and transformation for myself could happen. And so when I walk people and I create that safe space to see themselves, it's not just like, oh, your nose means this, or your cheeks mean this, like, pride and leadership, and and it becomes intellectual information. The energy that I bring to it is that to create that energy of safeness and healing, where that when we actually drop you into understanding yourself, but also into venturing into your inner outer worlds, with the left side being the private face, and then the right side being our public face and what we show the world, and seeing where they may be out of alignment with themselves.
Okay. Interesting. Um. There's like a meridian between the two halves that like I know in our brain there's two halves that one is more logical and the other is more artistic, shall we say. It's just using classic high level overviews of what um, but socially, you're saying that our expressions, our facial expressions, do the same thing.
Yes, like
The,
our features, like the side of our body, like it's very much like, I don't know if you've heard, but like face and body reading is very much like palmistry, like how the lines are actually changing according to our neurochemistry. And
uh-huh.
so very much like the left side and right side, it is correlated with those parts of our brain as well. And so that's why we can see that like the left side is that the more emotional, the more yin, the more soul aspects, feminine aspects. And the right side generally is that more analytical, mental action taker kind of energy. And so that shows up in the face as well, and how we show up in the world.
Yeah. Okay. So you said this before about yin energy, and I didn't I don't fully understand what you mean by yin. So I
Mm.
did some Google searches, and I'm even more confused about what you mean by yin. What does that mean?
Well, for me, the yin and yang, it really means again that the more soulful feminine energy. This part of us that is our heart knowing, and the yang is the energy of that masculine taking action. And so, how I like to see it is that when we're in a balanced state, our heart is the one that guides us with our passion, and then the yang actually sort of balances out by holding the feminine's like discernment and holding the space for that feminine to really express that heart knowing everything that they know at a deeper non-intellectual level, that this is the right path, this is the intuition. And the yang comes in and protects almost, and helps bring that message, and helps bring actually the energy of moving forward to creating the impact in the world. That's how I've experienced it within myself,
Mm-hmm.
and how I explain to my clients in creating this balance between the masculine and feminine energies, these two parts of ourselves.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you got me thinking about other stuff like gender roles and stuff like that, because um like me being 50 some years old, and when I was taught about gender roles and how you know you if you're masculine, you always got to be the one flexing the muscle and the protector and the provider, all that sort of stuff, right? And um, the more feminine roles was more elusive. There weren't really any true definitions other than you were supposed to be the protected. Um, and it's just kind of interesting that if we're looking at it the way you're saying, that it's not that there aren't any like strict roles, but more personal kind of energy around yin and yang.
Yeah, it's the honestly the way we experience ourselves, or I guess ourselves in our body as what gender or identity, whatever we want to put it. Oftentimes, our
Mm-hmm.
relationship with the energy of yin and yang actually, goes back to our relationship with the masculine and feminine energy in our lives. So often, a mother or father figure. And so, depending on what experiences you had, any trauma or any, like perhaps one parent was more masculine, and then one parent was very masculine in itself, then you may not have a strong connection with your feminine yin side, or whatever you want to call it. So, at the end of the day, it's not about placing male, female, because that's very pronounced, in our media now, as I understand, and having a tween daughter is talking about it quite a bit to me,
Yeah.
right? I believe it's really about knowing yourself.
Yeah.
When you can see and understand yourself through your face, and really connect to yourself and accept yourself, love and accept yourself for who you are, like it really doesn't matter
Yeah.
like what gender we are, as long as we know ourselves, and we it feels right for us in this moment, and we accept it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at someone and you're looking at their photographs of the left side of their face, the right side of their face, their feet, a video of how they walk and everything, and their posture and all, um, you can see like just the difference between yin and yang, that if they're walking with their yin and their yang, or if they're struggling against it, right? Or somewhere in between.
Yeah, and you know what I do is I essentially hold the container and the space for someone to experience themselves. So yes, I do start with the analysis which highlights someone's like strengths, their challenges,
Mm.
and any internal conflicts within themselves. I definitely start there, but I when I allow them to experience themselves, I actually I hold space and ask questions about what they see and
Ah,
different in a sort of a layered approach to really see help them see how they see themselves. And it's been a very healing and pronounced for many people, very awakening experience, because often sometimes it's like they see first of all how different these sides could look, because obviously we look at ourselves in the mirror, we're fairly balanced mostly, we're not thinking they're different, right? But when we are actually analyzing it in a face reading, you can see the differences. And sometimes one side is even I asked them to take pictures in even light, and you could tell that it's even light. One side of their face is like darker than the other side. Like literally you can look at one side and see sadness that is there through the eyes, and the other side that you can see, it's almost like plastic surgery, because they've gotten so used to putting on this face for the outer world. And so really it's a journey to help them see themselves for who they are.
right, right. Uh,
And that's the true
and
beauty of it. Yeah, go please go ahead.
and you said container and safe space. It's like, so we don't have to worry about judgment or any of that sort of stuff when we're sitting with you.
Not at all. I think it's just this is the work I'm meant to do, and I've always got that
Right.
feedback and testimonials that Tammy holds a very safe, non-judgmental space, and it's just like this is what it is. It's just seeing it and accepting it, and noticing if you're even receiving yourself. And one of my big intentions when I work with someone for a face analysis is my intention is to help them shift their relationship with themselves and start to integrate these aspects. And so sometimes by the end of a face analysis session experience, that they actually, and I show them the picture after, the way they see themselves has entirely changed. They can see that, wow, this side has strengths and this side has strengths, you know? And like, how can we work together as one? Because many times we're actually hiding or pushing down parts of us because we're not accepting it, accepting ourselves at some level. And so this is the deeper work I do with people, not only with the self-love embodiment, but also with when we're not fully receiving parts of ourselves, we're not receiving, you know, more income, we're not receiving the loving relationships. It gets manifested like that, right?
Yeah. Well, I know from personal experience, I had to do a bunch of work in order to have my wife.
Hmm. Beautiful. Yes.
I had to open my own heart up for love and love me before she even walked through the door. You know.
Yes, is and that's such a beautiful example of what I'm speaking about, Michael. And that's exactly it. Is that when working with high achieving women, a lot of times, yeah, we're looking for the relationship, but we're also looking to create that impact, you know, and follow our heart and
Hmm.
passion and things like this. And that sometimes we think we've done that work already, and that yeah, I don't need to do that again, you know, is what our mind tells us. But it's actually not true. We need to consistently stay connected with our body and emotions and the inner work growth, whatever you like to call it. The self, like I call it deepening our self love, honestly, because if we're not we're neglecting ourselves in some way, we're sacrificing ourselves by overdoing, over pushing, overachieving,
Hmm.
then we're actually decreasing our inner confidence, our self trust. You know, imposter syndrome comes up, and not feeling authentic. You know, something feels off. You know, all these kind of things come up, and so yeah, it's really about matching our the level of impact with our level of self care, self love, whatever you want to call it.
Okay. So a lot of what you just said, it's an ongoing thing. It isn't a one and done. It's
Mm.
a continued process because we keep changing ourselves, right? We keep evolving, not just changing but evolving. That's a better word.
Yes, we are continuously evolving, and that's why I set it up so that I do like a half day face analysis session experience for someone that wants to just unblock and move forward. And for some people, they have a face reading and they realize it's some deeper work that they need to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And this is highlighted by the difference and the relationship with the both sides of the face. And one thing I want to just share into the space is that I just completed working with a client for 6 months, and we did the before and after photos. And this is someone that her value system is love, belonging, authenticity, and she literally creates belonging in the community and wants to spread this container of love to the world. And there was, when we first did her reading, her the energy that came off her eyes felt was dead, like it was like zoned out like a zombie, and by the time like we finished working, like her heart space had opened up and she found herself again, like she'd never actually connected with who she was, even though she was saying this inside she knew she was not being authentic. And some other things that like changed in her face was like the entire shape of her face narrowed down and turned into more oval shape, like allowing her to be more of who she is, which is that feminine sensitivity versus being logical in the emotional center of her face. And so it's just amazing, like depending what obviously we're working through with that client, that same facial characteristic is shifting and changing to support that person.
Right.
So it's really amazing that our body is not fixed, and we know that maybe in the relationship of weight loss or like wanting to build more lean muscle, and even our choice in wanting to do these things says something about us subconsciously, right? um yeah, it's just our body is a magnificent, um it's like some people call it an engine, but it's really not an engine. It's like a sacred temple of wisdom that is here for us to just love and deepen our relationship with.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, there are some mechanical aspects, leading back to the just gross anatomy things. Yeah, it's like tension on this particular muscle makes this thing move or that bone move or something like that. But we're so much more than that. Especially when we start like analyzing um, not just our brain but our mind. It's like we're
Mm.
so much more than just a mechanical thing. The and the energy that comes from us, right?
Yes, and and just to speak a bit about, like, we always hear this body mind heart soul connection, and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times I think we spend the space in the mind at the mindset level. And in reality, if we're spending like saying affirmations that I'm gonna I am powerful, I am loving, I am impactful, I'm a powerhouse, whatever we want to say, but our body is actually in a position, or we're standing in a way that is actually counteracting that. That causes this miscoherence and a misalignment within our energy being,
Yeah.
and so that is it's important. It's like we leave the body out of a lot of things, thinking it's just something we got to feed and gets us from A to B. But besides being a communication aspect, it's also the alignment in our body.
Mm-hmm.
And what I notice is a lot of people hear about alignment when they see massage therapists or physiotherapists, but it's at a mind level once again.
Yeah.
And it's not until we link in at the emotional space, like link in our connection to our feelings and emotion of this, until we're able to actually be coherent and congruent to create what we say we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It leads me to a question about modern versus ancient. Um, do you think that we are as as a society that we're leading our way back to some of the more ancient ways of thinking, but while keeping in tune with the modern tech stuff, you know.
I think in many ways, like what we had used to operate from at a medical level, you see a counselor for, your mental state, and you see, a doctor for the physical body, and things are separated. So for me, in the way of ancient wisdom, like it really is learning that we are whole as a human being, and we are starting to definitely we're hearing all of that, but hearing that sort of practiced and bringing it all together through the body and connecting to, yes, the ancient wisdom that actually is through the heart. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
call myself Path to the Heart. Is that I'm bringing people back into the heart, into their body. Definitely in the longer term work I do with people, is that we tap into that ancient wisdom, and that when we start to live from that place, from this knowledge that had always worked and was always there, but learning to harness it within ourselves, that is where that is what is, I believe, necessary, to come back to,
Yeah.
because it starts from our own heart. Like we just can't argue with that. Like only the mind will take us away from what is we know is truth within ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So leading back to our reading again, um, what are some of the results that you have actually gotten with people where they were trying to they came to you as a, hey, I just can't seem to get to what it is that I want,
Mm-hmm.
and like, how soon have you gotten people to where they wanted to be? And I mean, how did all that, how has that all worked out for people that worked with you?
Yeah, sure, Michael. I mean, I offer 3 and 6 month coaching packages, and often it's really funny. Everyone gets the 6 month package because it comes with a full face and body analysis. So, in the 6 month time frame that I've worked with people one on one, what some of the and I know marketing tells us to, consistent results and things like this, but what I notice is really what we're able to create is directly correlated with what that client's true heart desires is. So what we are actually creating flow with is that someone with creating her community, where it was no one was actually joining her community and paying the membership for it. And through our work together, she just suddenly she opened up to receive, and she got an influx of like 15 people like in 1 week. So it can be very instant and powerful in that moment. One of the things she struggled with was the ability to actually make space for herself. Like she knew she needed to make space, but she was sharing space in her home that was it was enough for where she was expanding to. And so in the time we worked together, she was able to purchase a new house and create space for 2 rooms for herself, one for her own business, which she never
Mm-hmm.
even thought to ask for before, and one for her exercise classes that she likes to run on the side for fun, for creativity and things like this. For another client, it was like a inner knowing of realizing who she was, and she basically made a whole career change. It's often from a place, I notice, of where they felt stuck and what they're really calling in their heart. Like I had one client that said she wanted to make a lot of money, but when we got really deep and clear, she wanted freedom. And so when
Mm.
we create that freedom within her inner world, she essentially started to create clients and higher paying clients, versus having, the multiple clients that she thought she needed to make that. So it came more naturally. Other clients, it's like once they opened up to receive, it's like instantaneous clients started flowing through. So oftentimes people come to me when they feel stuck, they're in a rut, something feels off, that the flow is blocked. And what I've been sort of guided to support people with is, yes, helping people with the physical body and the relationship to it, but also helping people create abundance. And that can look like wealth abundance, or it could just look like abundance in how it comes in. It doesn't have to come in a certain way. Is that in our when I get it someone in touch with their heart, what that manifests and creates like is entirely different depending on what that person wants.
Yeah. Wow.
So those are some of the things. It's just quite variable. And um, one thing that touches me a lot, and I know not everyone, maybe feels this as much as I do, is that someone that worked with me and she didn't know why, like, she loves her family, she loves her friends, but she always, like, a part of her didn't want to, like, fully connect or even hang around them too long. She found herself wanting to just leave and not fully connect. And since working with us, she's going out of her way to just be with family and just like fully, they should just want to talk and get to know them. Whereas before there was an energetic block there in her heart of not letting things in.
Hmm.
And to me, like, to maybe because of my daughter, I couldn't let my own daughter in. And
Right.
like as a mom, that hurts. And yeah, so that's to me, like, those are some of the results, some outcomes I've created with some clients, for some clients I've been working with. In addition, maybe next time, Michael, when we are doing a visual podcast, I can show you some of the before and after pictures that with people working with me, because that, like, a lot of times seeing it visually, we could see where the changes happened and to match with the experiences within ourselves.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to set the cameras up so that we can do some visuals and some screen sharing and stuff. Um, so it's always fun to do. Um, anyway, we're starting to run out of time. It's like, we always
Mm-hmm.
do this. We always like run all the way through to the end, and I realize it's like, oh my god, we're running out of time. Um, Paths to the Heart, right? And it's what's it?
Yes.
Pathstotheheart.com is your website.
Yes, pattotheheart.com. I'm also the easiest is pattotheheart.com /links. And you can see all my social media links on there if you want to stay connected on there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, for people that want to sort of start that journey of to start that connection with their body, I like to sort of offer it's a something I offer. It's a mini class to just start to discover what the what your shape of your face means, and to just start that process for yourself if you're wanting to stay connected in that way. So I could sort of give that link to you, Michael, so people can see it in the show notes.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great. And everybody, please do make sure that you check out the show notes and go to depictions.media, and also check out the blog post when we put it up there, and talking about some of the work that Tammy does. Um, Thank you, Tammy,
Yeah,
for
I just want
joining
to
us. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I just want to quickly share. I just want to just let people know that when you go to pathtotheheart.com /links, there's also opportunity if you wanted to sort of book a complimentary deep dive session with me. So just want to put that out there if you sort of on the fence and you want to just have a conversation and experience who I am. That is open to you. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, and thank you, everybody, for listening today, and we will see you next time. And
And I looked up at a shooting star, and then I wondered who you are. I just need to know. So I wish upon that shooting star, and then I wondered
This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.